All right, so the question is, what does this mean for you watching at home right now? Let's bring in West Virginia Congressman and former West Virginia State Treasurer, Riley Moore. Riley, good morning to you. You know, there you have it, really the big question. How do you see this affecting all of us? And more particularly, could this in fact lead to more U.S.-made products and more opportunities for American businesses and job creation?
Well, thanks, Stu. Thank you so much for having me on. And yes, absolutely. I'll give you a great example. In my district, Weirton, West Virginia, we had asked for tariffs on tin plate steel in the Biden administration, which was rejected. We actually went to the ITC and sought tariff relief in that regard, and we're not able to get it. We ended up shuttering that steel mill and laid off 1,000 steel workers there. And it's because we couldn't get those tariffs in place because China and Canada and Korea were dumping cheap tin plate steel into the marketplace. So those jobs would still be in place right now had those tariffs actually been exercised and the anti-dumping law. So yes, this is going to bring jobs back to America. This is a critical industry that we have to protect.
You know, we've seen President Trump use tariffs as a bargaining tool before. Why is he targeting steel and aluminum in particular? You just mentioned you asked for tariffs for your steel workers there. We know West Virginia is a huge steel market, huge industry. But why steel and aluminum, and why right now?
Well, as I mentioned just previously, it is a critical industry. There's a national security component here, and China is acutely aware of this and trying to degrade our industrial capacity here in the United States and our ability to manufacture steel, which is so critical to our defense sector and also our industrial base. They know that. That's what they're trying to do. That's why they dump the steel generally, and then once the prices and they bid bottom, and once those prices are all the way down, they will then jack up the prices once they've destroyed one of our manufacturing facilities here in the United States. So it is a total bait and switch. You're not getting cheaper steel in the long run. And so this is going to strengthen the U.S. economy. It's going to make us safer as well.
Very interesting. I want to take a look right now at some polling when it comes to how Americans look at these tariffs and what they're hearing about tariffs. This, according to a new CBS poll, when it comes to China, 56 people are in favor of U.S. tariffs, 44% opposed. But when you look at Mexico, Europe, and Canada, the majority of people say they oppose tariffs, 56%, 60%, 62%, with just 40, 40, and 38 people in favor of tariffs, that for Mexico, Canada, and Europe. So with those numbers, and you're telling us, you know, that it's very important for the U.S. economy that these tariffs are placed and they can be used to bring in jobs, they can be used to bring in more businesses. There is an effort to go against the president's proposed tariffs, and maybe that's coming from the other side of the aisle. But I want you to kind of explain to our viewers this morning, because a lot of people are nervous, and it's reflected in those numbers. They're nervous about higher prices. They're hearing that this is going to bring back inflation, more inflation when it comes to groceries and other products. Can you kind of help our viewers understand why you're actually asking for these tariffs? You did kind of touch on that, but I think that there is a lot of confusion around this topic.
Well, first and foremost, I'd say it's a messaging issue. We've obviously been talking about China taking advantage of the United States now for a number of years. I don't think everyone is acutely aware that we're also being taken advantage of by some of those other countries that you just mentioned. That is happening. That was part of the USMCA, the new trade deal that was negotiated by President Trump in his first term, because NAFTA was such a bad deal for the American worker. So this has been going on, and obviously Canada and Mexico were party to that agreement. So this has been going on for a long time. And one of the things that people need to keep in mind here is that tariffs are a negotiating tool. And what this is going to do is open up more markets and more opportunities for our manufacturers here in the United States, which is going to drive up wages here in the United States and ultimately lower tariffs all across the board. So it's going to actually open up more free trade, but more importantly, more fair trade for the United States.
Congressman Riley Moore from West Virginia. Congressman, thank you for helping us see both sides of this issue, because it is an important one and it's not going to go away anytime soon. We appreciate your time this morning. Right now, Joe is in the breaking